So one of the sneakiest parts of MyMathLab or WebAssign or any of those other online software are when it requires rounding. And oftentimes I joke with that as the black directions at the end of every problem where no one ever reads, and it's in parentheses, and it's the very end, and it says round to 2 places, 3 places, however many it tells you. And you go through all the work of the problem, you do everything perfect, you get it all correct, and then you round incorrectly. I want to talk about rounding here for just 1 second and how I approach it with just kind of, because when you write it, you're going to punch this into a calculator. Oftentimes you're going to see some of these intense formulas, this crazy substitution, and it'll be 0.3217956 whatever, blah, 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 right? And this, again, it could be repeating, it could be non-repeating, it could be terminating, whatever it happens to be. But when you see this, what happens is, and if it says like rounded 2 places, then what I like to do is come over here to 1, 2 places. I put a circle around it, looking at that next number. If it's anything 4 or less, I just cross it off and delete the rest. 0.32 would be my answer. However, let's look at this as rounded 3 places. And again, I'll just take the same number, 17956, right? It doesn't even matter how many I write, because once I'm beyond that 3 or 4 places now, I put a circle around it. But now looking at that next number, because it's 5 and greater, that's when I round up. And here's where, again, students make the most mistakes. 3.22, because what it does is it bumps that 1 up to a 2. Notice it's regardless of that other 2. But what happens here is, because that next, not the rounding one, but the next place value is what tells us either do we truncate it and cut the rest off, or do we bump that rounding place up to the next one. Now, I want to be careful that when it says the 2 places, do not add a 0 here. If you added a 0, that would be like you're rounding to 3 places here. When it says 2 places, you have 2 places. When it says 3 places, you have 3 places. Now, you may have that be because look at this one where it says round to 4 places. We know that 0.32179561234. When we have that bumping up, that makes 0.3218. Notice if I were to say the 5 places, 3218795, look at this one where if I were to round that up, okay, look at where if I were to say round to 5 places, what's going to happen here is that I'm going to round that up, meaning 3, 2, 1, where this rounds up to 10. We can't write 10 in there, right? That's going to round that up to 8. That's going to round that to 0. Notice 0.32180. You don't often see this 5 places, but I wanted to use an example of when you would distinctly need that 0. We know that that 0 is the placeholder for the accurate rounding of 5 places. Sometimes you want the 0, sometimes you need it, sometimes you distinctly cannot have that 0 in rounding.